Hey there. Today I'm going to begin a new series of tier videos, starting with the two threat characters and then working my way up through the different threat values because at this point there's just too many of them. My name is Nate and welcome to the Gamers Guild. Now, as you might tell by my background and other things, today's original video has unfortunately been postponed due to unforeseen and uncontrollable circumstances. But this does give me the excuse to start up a new series of tier videos that has been on my agenda along with some other things for quite some time now. Because of the uh, problematic blessing of just so many awesome new things to talk about, I haven't been able to keep up with all of the different videos that I necessarily want to make covering Marvel Crisis Protocol. Even now, I think I have three different duos or three character packs of revealed characters that I haven't got to talk about just because there's been so many things one after the other, and there's the staggered weird releases right now and all that kind of stuff going on. So over the next 4 to 5 weeks, on Tuesdays, I'm going to come out with some additional content so that I can get caught up on everything that I'd like to talk about. Now, with this new tier series, I'm going to start with the two threat characters and then do the threes and so on, just going through them all and kind of giving my thoughts. And with that, and so I don't have to hopefully go over it while I'm justifying my position and thought on each character, here are the different rankings and what they mean to me when I put them in there. So S tier is going to be at the top, and this is going to be for any characters that can be put in any situation, and they just end up doing the job really well. So a great example of this would probably be Valkyrie. She's a great damage dealer at 3 threat. She has some objective control. She has extra power generation. She just has a lot of tools in her utility belt, I guess, and makes her usually an S tier character. For the A class or A tier, in addition to being seen in their own affiliation, they can easily be taken as a flex character to help fill out spots in several different kinds of rosters because they are one of the best characters at what they do. So this would be a great place for maybe Hawkeye or Taskmaster because they're both able to do really well with what they do and are kind of excelling at that 3 threat slot. Those are kind of the best characters in that area. Not to mention they can also be easily taken in their own affiliations. You'll see them in other ones as well. For the B, I have an average character who can help pad out the affiliation requirement for your squad while still being useful to your overall roster or strategy, or can be taken because they synergize really well out of affiliation because of a certain leadership or other combo. So for me, a great character that kind of represents this is Captain Marvel. She does really well in A-Force, and then she also does really well in Brotherhood because they're able to feed her that power to pop off binary, and then she just becomes really like a 5 or 6 threat character. Then we have the C tier, a below average character who lacks in a special role or is just kind of a generic jack of all trades, which doesn't really help them because they're also a master of none. This might be a good place for a character like Ghost Rider, who doesn't have a specific home, and because there's not really a home anywhere for him yet, I think there will be eventually, but I think right now Ghost Rider kind of represents that. For the D tier, I have characters that in most situations are going to be outshone when compared to other characters that are in the same affiliation and in the same threat range. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when we actually have characters to go into that slot, but I don't think we actually have anybody that's going to fit in there for the 2 threat characters just because there's so few of them at this point. Now, with that in mind, I would love to go ahead and get into some of our 2 threat characters. So there really aren't a lot of them at this point. I think we have a grand total of 6 currently out, and then we've got Bob coming soon. So with that in mind, the S tier for me is going to be just Okoye. Okoye is a really solid 2 threat model, and really all of the 2 threat characters are really good with what they do, what they're able to achieve and handle because they're able to hold objectives and hold points, with the exception of Nebula, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. That they're able to just do that at a threat value that other characters are not. And so on any of the like D secures, like extremist consoles, being able to just hold back a two threat character on that back point is going to be outvaluing your opponent usually, unless they also have a two threat character that's able to hold that back point, because you're scoring victory points where they're not. Okoye also has the great benefit of having a little bit of nice durability, having martial artist, threes across the board on defense, and also has a innate reroll with her General of the Dora Milaje, which all these things come together really nicely. She has guaranteed power generation out of her range 4 energy attack, spear throw or spear thrust. I forget which. It's one or the other. I always imagined it as a spear throw. But really, the thing that I think puts her above most others is she is a two threat bodyguard. Being able to take the hit for a higher threat character or a character that has a more important role to fill on the battlefield is just absolutely wonderful. And the fact that she gets that reroll on defense, that she gets the martial artist on defense, if you line it up correctly, makes her a really good bodyguard as well, especially at that two threat slot, which means that she's able to go really pretty much anywhere and do really well. Maybe the one place that doesn't really want her is the Guardians. She doesn't shine as much there, but she still helps them go super wide, which is to the benefit of the Guardians. And talking of the Guardians, or speaking of the Guardians, I'm going to go ahead and throw Rocket into the A slot. Uh, range 5 dice energy, basic strike is almost enough, in my opinion, to put him in the A slot, just because range 5 is such a commodity that I think is overlooked by a lot of people, and because he's just a great damage dealer for two threat. Now, granted, he's extremely vulnerable, but at the same time, I've had so much difficulty killing this stinking rodent that I think he deserves to be in the A tier discussion. He's able to easily hold that back point as well as anybody else. Has the innate ability of cover, basically, and if he has his trusty friend around, he gets the additional thing there. He does have some really low defenses, and that's really something we see pretty commonly across most of the two threat characters. Rocket more so than most, with some really low stamina values, which makes him very vulnerable to throws more than pretty much anybody else in the game. But if you're able to position him well or anything else, he can be set up quite nicely to just be taking pot shots the whole game, or just holding an objective and still doing that, which none of these other characters can really do. On the other hand, the other Guardian I'm going to put up is Nebula. And Nebula, I'm going to leave down here at the C tier, mostly just because she can't do anything with objectives, and that's one of the big benefits of bringing a two threat character to me, is being able to have another body on the field that's able to score points, whether it's helping contest or just taking in objective and running away with it. And Nebula just can't do any of those things, and she doesn't have any ways to score victory points on her own. If she maybe had something like Killmonger's Usurp the Throne ability, because she's all about taking out other people, or maybe an Agent Black Widow, the three threat one, uh, maybe there would be a little bit more justification in raising her up here. Not that she's bad, she's got reroll, she's a great assassin character for two threat, uh, but she's not hitting particularly hard. She's very consistent in probably getting about 2 to 3 damage, but her damage spikes aren't going to be seen as often, and her inability to do anything with objectives other than attack them really well really hurts her in her overall standing for me. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and throw Agent Widow at B, because she kind of is the exact opposite of Nebula. She really doesn't want to be in a fight at all. She's got the long move like Nebula. She has, but that's pretty much it. Black Widow is a get in, get out, please don't see me, please don't attack me kind of character. She has stealth, she has the martial artist. Uh, she doesn't want to be in a fight, but she's really good at grabbing an objective and running away and being safe while running away because of the stealth and everything else. And being able to do that at 2 threat and also in one of the largest affiliations in the game, really two of the largest affiliations between A Force as well as the Avengers, gives her a good bit of versatility. And really, if you're playing a group that just wants a great objective runner, Black Widow can do that for you quite well. In the same vein, I'm going to put Wong here at the B slot. Wong, similarly, I guess not really similarly. He kind of plays uniquely to any other character in the game because he is the walking tactic card. Basically, he's able to heal other characters. He's able to give your other characters power in exchange for his power. His attack, while it has done stuff for me in games, he doesn't want to be in range to start attacking people. You want him to try to either heal other characters or give power to the characters that are a little bit more power starved. And he's able to fill that role from a decent distance, range 3 most of the time. And so I'm going to leave him here at B. He's not somewhere that is going to be plugged in universally, but he also, in the places that want him, he does really, really well. And I'm going to put Toad up here at A as well. He is just a different version of Black Widow in a lot of ways. But I give the edge here to him because he has the ways to continue to move away from your opponents during their activation. He has the ability to move away, which just is important because it gets him farther away, hopefully taking less damage. Also, the fact that he has a guaranteed incinerate on his spender attack with the energy is really nice. If Toad is caught up in the middle of things and is going to get targeted down anyway, and he doesn't have an extract that he's trying to run away with or play around with the objective stuff, he can still be useful in a fight just by placing the incinerate on there and not really doing much else because he's a 2-threat character. Most of them, with the exception of kind of Rocket and sometimes Okoye, they're not really heavy damage dealing kinds of characters. So Toad being able to add a nasty status condition out there is really nice. And then additionally, his range 2 interact allows him to kind of go onto your opponent's side of the board and steal an early objective if it gets lined up correctly, with minimal retribution unless they're able to come over and one-shot him, because Toad can then leapfrog away, or whatever his actual ability is called. And then we have the extremely unique Agent Bob, who has a just completely different stat card than what most of us are probably used to seeing in the game of Marvel Crisis Protocol, because he's just as vulnerable as Rocket, and he actually gets to shoot a rocket, but it's a very expensive rocket in that while the attack isn't expensive, the ability to use it again becomes daunting as you have to store up 8 power and then reload your rocket launcher, and it's a whole mess of a thing. But I'm not really sure how consistent or useful Bob is going to be. We haven't had to actually get him on the table yet. We've seen his stat card. We now know that he is in the Cabal, so the Cabal will love having the option to a 2-threat and affiliation character. But I'm not really sure where he's going to stack up in the overall just consistency or usefulness, because one big attack, I can't count the number of times, or I wish I couldn't count the number of times that I've rolled just a lot of dice for them all to come up as blocks or blanks or things that don't deal damage. And that's kind of Bob's thing. Without any additional real consistency on him or anything else, he is a one-shot pony. And man, if that one-shot lands, Bob will probably do more work than he should for a 2-threat character. But if that attack just does middling or below average damage, you're going to be hard pressed to get Bob to hold his worth for most of the rest of the game. And I guess that's it. That we really only have these few characters, and Bob really at this point is a decent bit of guesswork. He might be dropped to C, he might be moving up to A, depending on how well he can do and hold his own. But right now, I feel pretty comfortable with where I have these different 2-threat characters. And so that is it for today. I want to, of course, thank my sponsor, Tritex Games, for what they've been doing for the channel and what they've been bringing to you all in the form of their discount and stuff. If you don't know at this point, because of Tritex, we're able to do a monthly giveaway. You need to be subscribed to the channel and comment on any Marvel Crisis Protocol video that comes out in a month. And I guess there's just going to be a lot more entry points with all of the Tuesday videos coming out this month as well. But comment and be subscribed to the channel, and you get a chance to win one Marvel Crisis Protocol expansion. Usually it'll be an upcoming expansion, though right now, again, with all of the uncertainty and global shipping and all that kind of stuff, it's something that we usually just talk about once the winner is decided. And then also, if you are looking to pick up some of those future expansions, use the code TRITEXGGCP5 at checkout. It'll get you an extra 5% off their already discounted prices for all the Marvel Crisis Protocol products. That's a mouthful in your cart. As well, I have to always say thank you to the Patreon subscribers, members of the Guild Hall, who are supporting what I'm doing and everything else that's just kind of going on. There are so many things I'm excited to talk about and bring to you all, and look forward to being able to do just that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at one of the links down in the description, whether that's my email or on Facebook. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.